be academic here, but I will be just for a second holding on to this idea of the wild. So going back to Plato. So when Plato writes the defense of Socrates for his life, I never thought about that until this time. So Socrates begins, we're dropped right into the scene as we're reading it. Socrates is beginning his defense, starting in on the idea of him giving a retort against what he has heard about him. And he says this one part, and it's in that earliest sentences, the first sentences of the apology. He says, I don't come to you today with contrived words and phrases. I don't have anything written down. I will give this from my heart, right? I don't have, in other words, I don't have a speech in front of me. And they tell me that I can turn a phrase, I can spin a lie. Well, if speaking the truth means speaking from your heart, I mean, that's what I'm all about. And to say that I'm going to come to you with these contrived phrases like a piece of paper in front of me, I'm not going to do that. And he sets the stage. I'm going to say it right from my heart. This is what I'm about as a philosopher, as a lover of wisdom. This is what's been going on. And of course, he's been taken to trial because he's corrupting the youth and introducing gods not recognized by the city-state of Athens at the time. Now, they've been going through some hard times, lost war to Sparta. They've had a plague. Everything's falling in on their heads. But he's the wild man. See, he's the wild one that comes in, and he says, I'm going to talk about this. So then it becomes something then that reaches our hearts and minds, because here is a person burning. And that's what Benjamin Franklin said of George Whitefield, the outdoor preacher who was from England. He worked with John Wesley in the early days of the Second Reformation. I think that's what they call it in American history. That's when you had that outdoor preaching in the 1700s going on. Well, Benjamin Franklin, who was really no friend of religion or the church or anything like that, he would go out reportedly and would listen to George Whitefield preach. So they asked him one time, they said, why do you go out? And he said, because I love to go and watch a man burn. So he doesn't have like a contrived speech. Like he doesn't have a contrived sermon already written up and he's just turning pages. Like Jonathan Edwards, Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God, he's just reading it. And it was difficult for him to see that he held it up right against his face and he read it. That was the first Reformation. Second Reformation is this outdoor preaching. It's wild. It matches the American landscape. Yes. It matches the wildness of the frontier, which is beautiful.